The heart of New York's Fifth Avenue pulsed with the frenetic energy of Manhattan, where yellow cabs weaved through traffic and tourists snapped photos under the spring sun. Amid this urban symphony stood gleam and grandeur, a 3,000-square-foot temple of opulence that rivaled a VIP suite at the Super Bowl. Its crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across polished marble floors, illuminating displays of $50,000 watches and diamond necklaces nestled on velvet cushions. The store's pristine glass doors, framed in gold, whispered exclusivity, as if only the elite dared cross the threshold. Inside, the air carried the faint scent of leather and polish, a silent promise of wealth and status. Every detail, from the staff's tailored suits to the soft hum of classical music, screamed one truth: this was a world for the chosen few. Into this bastion of luxury stepped Keanu Reeves, his presence as unassuming as a shadow in the midday bustle. Known to millions for his Hollywood blockbusters, yet revered for his quiet humility, giving up his subway seat to strangers, or donating millions to children's hospitals, Keanu was a paradox of fame and modesty. Today, he wore a faded black hoodie, worn jeans frayed at the cuffs, and a scuffed baseball cap pulled low, as if to blend into the city's rhythm. In his pocket, he carried a brass compass, a gift from his late mentor, its surface etched with "Find Your True North." The simple heirloom grounded him, a reminder of values forged far from the glitz of Tinseltown. Keanu's mission was personal: to find a meaningful gift for Mia, a former stunt coordinator who'd braved explosions alongside him on a film set. Now a single mother facing mounting medical bills, Mia deserved something special, a token of their enduring friendship. His eyes scanned the gleaming showcases, landing on a $25,000 limited edition watch, its intricate design a quiet marvel. But as he lingered, the staff's gazes sharpened. A sales associate, Emily, her tailored blazer as crisp as her demeanor, cast a skeptical glance at his thrift store aesthetic. Whispers rippled among her colleagues, their arched brows betraying the same thought: he didn't belong. Keanu, unfazed, traced the compass in his pocket, a wry smile flickering. "Guess I missed the memo about needing a tux to shop here," he thought, his humor a shield against their judgment. The stage was set for a clash, not of wealth or fame, but of values. In this glittering fortress, where appearances reigned supreme, Keanu's quiet resolve and the compass's timeless wisdom would soon challenge the shallow metrics of worth, setting the course for a lesson none in Gleam and Grandeur would forget. Inside the gleaming expanse of Gleam and Grandeur on New York's Fifth Avenue, the air was thick with the weight of exclusivity. The 3,000-square-foot showroom sparkled under crystal chandeliers, each $50,000 watch and diamond necklace a silent testament to wealth. Keanu Reeves, his faded black hoodie and scuffed baseball cap starkly out of place, stood before a display case, his eyes fixed on a $25,000 limited edition watch. Its intricate silver face and sapphire accents seemed to whisper the kind of timeless elegance he sought for his friend Mia, a former stunt coordinator now battling medical bills as a single mother. In his pocket, Keanu's fingers brushed the brass compass, its "Find Your True North" engraving a steadying force, a reminder of his late mentor's wisdom: value lies in character, not appearances. Emily, a 28-year-old sales associate, watched Keanu from across the counter. Her tailored blazer, crisp as a dollar bill, marked her as part of the store's polished elite, but her tense posture betrayed the pressure beneath. Supporting her teenage brother, Liam, on a sales associate's salary was no small feat, and her manager, David, had drilled into her the need to prioritize high-value clients to secure a promotion. David's warning about time wasters echoed in her ears as she sized up Keanu's frayed jeans and worn cap, her lips curling slightly. He looks like he wandered in from a dive bar in Brooklyn, she thought, her bias shaped by the store's elitist culture. Stepping forward with a practiced smile, she said, "Can I help you, sir?" Her tone was polite, but her arched brow screamed skepticism. Keanu glanced up, his expression calm yet direct. "I'd like to know more about this watch," he said, pointing to the $25,000 piece. His voice carried a quiet authority, honed on film sets and tempered by years of humility. Emily blinked, caught off guard, then leaned forward as if to confirm his choice. "That one?" she asked, her voice tinged with amusement. "It's a collector's piece, sir. Limited edition. Costs more than most people's cars. Maybe try something under $500. Her words dripped with sarcasm, a subtle jab at his thrift store aesthetic. Keanu's hand tightened around the compass in his pocket, its cool metal grounding him. "Price isn't the issue," he replied, his tone steady. "Can you show me the watch? Or is that too much trouble?" The simplicity of his request, paired with his unwavering gaze, unsettled Emily. Her smile faltered, replaced by a flash of irritation. "Look, no offense," she said, crossing her arms, "but we cater to serious buyers, not thrift store tourists." The words hung in the air, sharp and cutting. Drawing discreet glances from other customers, a suited businessman adjusting his tie, a woman in heels clutching a designer purse. None intervened, but the tension was palpable. Keanu's eyes narrowed slightly, not in anger, but in quiet resolve. "Vibe," he said, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Funny how you think clothes tell you who I am." His words, laced with understated wit, hit like a dart. Emily's cheeks flushed, but she doubled down, her voice rising. "This watch is for people who fit the environment. Okay, serious buyers don't walk in looking like they just rolled out of a Brooklyn dive bar." She gestured at his hoodie, her manager's voice in her head urging her to move on to real clients. Keanu took a deep breath, the compass's weight steadying him. "I'm asking about the watch," he said firmly. "Can you show it to me? Or should I find someone who will?" The standoff drew more eyes. A young couple whispered, their phones discreetly angled. Emily, now visibly annoyed, scoffed. "Fine. It's 18-karat white gold, sapphire inlays, Swiss movement 1 of 100 worldwide. Happy now?" Her tone was sharp, dismissive, as if explaining to a child. Keanu tilted his head, unfazed. "Can you show me how it works?" he asked, his voice calm but unyielding. Emily laughed, a short, incredulous sound. "Show you how it works? This isn't a toy store. It's a collector's piece, meant for someone who gets what they're holding." Her words were a challenge, daring him to prove he belonged. Keanu's gaze locked with hers, the compass's engraving echoing in his mind. "Find your true north." "I get it," he said softly. "I just want to see the watch." Is that too much to ask? The question, simple yet piercing, made Emily hesitate. Her manager's warnings clashed with a flicker of doubt. Something in Keanu's calm demeanor felt out of place, too steady for a nobody. But her pride won out. "You know what," she snapped, her voice carrying across the showroom. "You're in the wrong place. Come back when you can afford it." The words were a dismissal, a final blow, meant to send him packing. Keanu adjusted his cap, his expression unreadable. Without another word, he turned and walked toward the glass doors, his footsteps steady against the marble. The showroom fell silent, the weight of the exchange lingering. But as he stepped onto the Fifth Avenue sidewalk, Emily's parting shot followed. "Don't waste our time again." A tourist, phone in hand, caught the moment. Her video capturing Keanu's calm exit and Emily's sharp tone. By noon, the clip had exploded on X, amassing 75,000 views and sparking a firestorm of comments under "Darn, I respect Keanu." Passers-by recognized him. whispering, "Is that Keanu Reeves, the Matrix guy?" The realization hit Emily like a freight train as a customer shouted, "That's him! You just kicked out Keanu Reeves!" Her face drained of color, David's horrified glare confirming the magnitude of her mistake. The compass in Keanu's pocket, a silent guide, had led him through the storm. But the real reckoning was just beginning. The glass doors of gleam and grandeur swung shut behind Keanu Reeves. The hum of Fifth Avenue's traffic swallowing the echo of his footsteps. The 3,000-square-foot showroom, moments ago a stage for Emily's sharp dismissal, fell into a stunned silence. Her final words, "Don't waste our time," again still hung in the air, now immortalized in a tourist's shaky iPhone video. Outside, the Manhattan sidewalk buzzed with pedestrians, their phones flashing as whispers spread. A young woman in a Yankees cap, her eyes wide, pointed at Keanu's retreating figure. "That's Keanu Reeves," she shouted, her voice cutting through the urban din. The guy from the Matrix heads turned, cameras swiveled, and the crowd erupted in murmurs. By 12:30 p.m., the video had exploded on X, racking up 75,000 views and igniting a Shaman Respect Keanu trend that flooded feeds with outrage and admiration. Inside, Emily stood frozen behind the counter, her tailored blazer suddenly feeling too tight. Her face drained of color as the tourist's words sank in. Keanu Reeves, the actor, whose quiet generosity, from donating millions to children's hospitals to sharing sandwiches with strangers, was the stuff of internet legend, had just been humiliated by her. The store manager, David, stormed over, his polished loafers clicking furiously on the marble floor. "You just insulted one of the most beloved people in America," he hissed, his eyes blazing with a mix of horror and disbelief. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Emily's stomach churned, her mind racing back to the moment she'd dismissed Keanu's faded hoodie and scuffed cap as signs of a thrift store tourist. Her mistake, born of stress and bias, now loomed like a career-ending shadow. A flashback pulled Emily to the previous night, after a grueling double shift. At her cramped Queens apartment, she tucked her teenage brother, Liam, into bed, promising him a better future if she could just land that promotion at Gleam and Grandeur. David's voice had echoed in her training, "Focus on the high rollers. Don't waste time on window shoppers." Exhausted, juggling 2 jobs and Liam's school expenses, Emily had internalized the store's elitist culture, letting it sharpen her judgment. Keanu's unassuming appearance had triggered her insecurity, not just arrogance, a desperate need to prove herself in a world that measured worth by wealth. Now, staring at the viral video, looping on a customer's phone, she felt the weight of her misstep like a 50-pound anchor. Emily's panic propelled her toward the glass doors, her heels slipping slightly on the marble. "Mr. Reeves." "Wait," she called, bursting onto the sidewalk. Keanu, halfway down the block, paused, his hand brushing the brass compass in his pocket. "It's Find Your True North, engraving a quiet guide." He turned, his expression calm but unyielding, the same serene resolve that had carried him through Emily's earlier barbs. "I'm so sorry," Emily stammered, her voice trembling. "I had no idea who you were. I was wrong, completely wrong." Her apology, raw and desperate, drew curious glances from passers-by, some still filming. Keanu's eyes met hers, steady and piercing. "Respect shouldn't need a name or a bank account," he said, his voice low but firm. "It's about who you choose to be." The words landed like a quiet thunderclap, exposing the hollowness of Emily's assumptions. She flinched, her cheeks burning. David, catching up, interjected with a nervous laugh. "Mr. Reeves, please. This isn't how we operate. Let us make it up to you any watch, a discount, anything is offer," dripping with corporate desperation, echoed the store's obsession with wealth over integrity. Keanu's thoughts drifted to Mia, his friend who'd risked her life on film sets, now fighting to keep her family afloat amid medical bills. The $25,000 watch was meant for her, a symbol of their shared battles and her resilience. Emily's dismissal had stung, not for his sake, but for what it represented: a world that judged worth by appearances, not heart. He shook his head, refusing David's offer. "You didn't see me," he said, his voice sharp yet profound. "You saw what you wanted to see. That's the real cost here." Adjusting his cap, he turned away, leaving Emily and David in the wake of his words. The sidewalk buzzed as the "Ward Respect Keanu" hashtag surged, ex-users sharing their own stories of being judged for their clothes or background. "This is why Keanu's a legend," one post read, garnering 10,000 likes. "Classism called out," read another, sparking a thread of hundreds decrying elitism. The video, now at 100,000 views, had turned gleam and grandeur into a cautionary tale, its pristine facade crumbling under the weight of public scrutiny. Emily stood rooted, her hands trembling as she watched Keanu disappear into the Manhattan crowd, his compass guiding him toward a different kind of value. Back inside, David's face was a mask of restrained fury. "This could cost us everything," he muttered, scrolling through X posts that tagged the store. "You didn't just embarrass yourself, you put our reputation on the line." Emily's throat tightened, Keanu's words echoing. "It's about who you choose to be." She'd chosen wrong, letting pressure and prejudice cloud her judgment. As customers whispered and staff avoided her gaze, Emily felt the isolation of her mistake. Yet, in that moment, a flicker of resolve stirred. She could change, learn, become someone better. Keanu's compass, though unseen, seemed to point her toward her own true north. If only she could find the courage to follow. Keanu Reeves stepped off the frenetic pulse of Fifth Avenue, the memory of gleam and grandure's cold dismissal fading with each stride. The brass compass in his pocket, etched with "Find Your True North," guided him toward Brooklyn's quieter streets, where brownstones and corner delis replaced Manhattan's glitz. He entered Timeless Keepsakes, a 500-square-foot shop tucked between a coffee roaster and a used bookstore, its warm wooden shelves lined with vintage watches and faded photographs. The air smelled of polished oak and nostalgia, a stark contrast to the sterile opulence of gleam and grandeur. Mr. Carter, an elderly clerk with gray hair and a kind smile, greeted him warmly. "Good afternoon, friend," he said, his voice carrying the gentle cadence of a lifelong Brooklynite. "Looking for something special?" Keanu returned the smile, feeling the weight of the compass in his pocket. "Something meaningful," he replied, thinking of Mia, his friend and former stunt coordinator, whose courage on film sets was now matched by her fight against medical bills as a single mother. "Mr. Carter nodded, sensing the sincerity in Keanu's tone, and pulled a $600 vintage watch from a velvet-lined case. Its silver face, worn but elegant, bore an engraving, "Time is precious." This was crafted by a local artisan in the 70s. "Mr. Carter explained, his eyes twinkling. "A Brooklyn man who believed time's value lies in the moments we share, not the dollars we spend." Keanu held the watch, its weight echoing the compass's quiet wisdom. "This is it," he said softly, knowing it was perfect for Mia, a symbol of resilience and hope. Meanwhile, at Gleam and Grandeur, the fallout from Emily's confrontation with Keanu was seismic. The viral video, now at 200,000 views on X, had triggered a 20% sales drop. The 3,000-square-foot showroom, feeling emptier than ever. Customers whispered about the "Chower Respect Keanu" trend, which had ballooned into a broader "Gotta Respect First" campaign, with 500,000 posts decrying classism and sharing stories of being judged for appearances. David, the manager, stood before his staff, his face grim. "This isn't just a PR crisis," he said, holding up his phone, where X posts tagged the store relentlessly. It's a wake-up call. He announced a public apology on X, admitting the store's failure and launching a Respect for All training program to retrain staff on treating every customer equally. Emily, her eyes downcast, felt the sting of her mistake. Keanu's words. It's about who you choose to be, echoing like a mantra. Emily's transformation began quietly, humbled. She started volunteering at a Brooklyn community center, helping single mothers like Mia with job training and childcare. Each shift, she thought of Liam, her teenage brother, and how her snap judgment had betrayed the values she wanted to instill in him. At the center, she met women whose strength mirrored Mia's, and she began to see worth beyond appearances. One evening, she pinned a photo of Liam to her locker, a reminder to choose respect over prejudice. Her redemption, though incomplete, was a step toward her own true north, inspired by the man she'd misjudged. Keanu, meanwhile, took his compassion further. Inspired by Mia's struggles, he donated $150,000 to a New York program for single mothers, naming it the True North Fund in honor of his mentor's compass. The fund offered scholarships and medical aid, lifting families like Mia's out of hardship. When he visited Mia in her modest Bronx apartment, he handed her the vintage watch, its time is precious, engraving glinting in the dim light. For all the moments we've shared, he said, his voice soft. Mia's eyes welled up, the watch a lifeline amid her battles, a reminder that hope endured. Keanu touched the compass in his pocket, its weight tying the gift to his mentor's legacy. The story of Keanu's encounter rippled beyond gleam and grandeur. The Our Respect First campaign, fueled by ex-users nationwide, inspired retailers from Los Angeles to Chicago to adopt respect-focused policies, training staff to value every customer, regardless of attire. A Manhattan news segment featured timeless keepsakes, showcasing the $600 watch and Mr. Carter's warm smile. Some treasures don't need a price tag, he said, holding up the watch, its engraving a quiet echo of Keanu's philosophy. The segment highlighted the True North Fund, noting how Keanu's donation had already helped 50 families, amplifying his reputation as a beacon of humility. Back at Gleam and Grandeur, David addressed his staff, holding a note Keanu had left with a delivery boy. Respect is the true luxury. Find your true north. The words silenced the room, Emily's throat tightening as she realized the depth of her lesson. The store's new training program, inspired by Keanu's note, began to shift its culture. But the scars of the incident lingered, a reminder that reputation, like time, was precious. Across the city, Keanu walked through Brooklyn streets, the compass guiding his steps. He glanced at the skyline, its lights a testament to New York's resilience, and knew that true worth lay not in $50,000 watches, but in the moments that changed lives. Months after the storm at Gleam and Grandeur, Emily stood behind the counter of a small Brooklyn shop, its 300-square-foot space a far cry from Fifth Avenue's opulence. Now working at a family-owned jewelry store, she greeted every customer with a warm smile. Her perspective transformed by Keanu Reeves's piercing words. It's about who you choose to be. A photo of her teenage brother, Liam, was pinned to her workstation, a quiet reminder to see worth beyond appearances. Each day, she strove to embody the respect she'd failed to show Keanu. Her journey of redemption, a testament to the American belief in second chances. Her mistake had been a harsh lesson, but it reshaped her into someone who valued heart over wealth, proving that growth could rise from regret. In a modest Bronx apartment, Keanu visited Mia, his friend and former stunt coordinator. The $600 vintage watch from Timeless Keepsakes, engraved with "Time is precious," gleamed on her wrist, a symbol of their shared battles and her enduring spirit. Mia's eyes shone with gratitude. The gift, a lifeline amid her medical struggles. "You didn't have to," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Keanu smiled, his fingers brushing the brass compass in his pocket. Its "Find Your True North" inscription grounding him. "Some things are worth more than money," he said, the moment a quiet victory of compassion over the materialism of gleaming grandeur. At timeless keepsakes, Mr. Carter, the elderly clerk, sat behind his counter, watching a news segment on a small TV. The report showcased Keanu's $150,000 donation to the True North Fund, a program for single mothers, and featured the vintage watch he'd bought. "Some treasures don't need a price tag," Mr. Carter mused, his smile reflecting Brooklyn's warm spirit. The camera panned to Manhattan's skyline, its twinkling lights a symbol of hope and change, pulsing with New York's heartbeat. The Respect First campaign, now at 500,000 posts on X, had sparked a nationwide shift, with retailers adopting policies to treat all customers equally, proving that one moment could ripple into a movement. The story's moral lingered true. Luxury lies in respect and compassion, not appearances or wealth. Keanu's words, "Find your true north, and you'll never lose your way," echoed as a beacon for a society too often blinded by superficiality. From Emily's redemption to Mia's hope, the lessons were clear: value people for their character, embrace growth after failure, and give back to lift others up. These American ideals of authenticity and community shone brighter than any $50,000 watch. To you, our audience, thank you for joining this journey of heart and resilience. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button for more tales of hope and humanity, and share where you're watching from. Let's keep the conversation alive.